Hello and welcome to This Week in Laker Football, your exclusive weekly look into the West Bloomfield Lakers varsity football team on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm Tyler Kieft. He's head coach Zach Hilbers in his third season at the helm, and 2-0 coming into week number 3, 2 consecutive 37-0 victories over your first 2 opponents. Your reflection on these first 2 weeks, Coach?
Well, I guess, it's about exactly how you would wish this season would start. You don't get much better than the record. The defense hasn't allowed a point, which is all good. But it's one thing to start that way. It's another thing to maintain it. And right now, as we sit, that's our focus, trying to maintain the pace we've been on.
In those first 2 weeks of ball, 2 shutouts for your defense. Last week it was stellar, getting to the ball carrier, putting a ton of pressure on Vincent Wesley and others playing quarterback for Southfield A&T. It brings up kind of an interesting question about that defense as we head into week 3. Is it an elite defense? Is it a combination of defensive prowess and offensive struggles for the other team? What's your opinion on your defense as we head into a really tough part of your schedule?
Well, I think elite defenses all run to the football, and they all take advantage of opportunities that are given to them. And they kind of go hand in hand in a way. So, yeah, Southfield did put the ball on the ground a few times, but if we're not around the ball and flying to the football, it doesn't really matter. Or a lot of times if one person flies to the football, it doesn't matter. So, so far, I think the data would say that we've been pretty good. But the season's long. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint, so it's our job to stay at that level.
The defense has been stellar these first 2 weeks. Special teams has also been excellent. A lot of playmaking last week in the special teams front. How excited was that for your coaching staff to have that kind of play, forcing turnovers and giving your offense even more opportunities, and in some cases not even having to give them an opportunity because of scoring the football?
Well, I organized a special team, so for me personally, it was really, really good to see. I thought we made a lot of mistakes against Fordson despite the final score in that phase of the game. I thought our special teams were subpar. So we tried to clean some things up, and it was better. I think we still made a couple errors that, we got to fix, but if I can get progress from that unit week after week, I like where we're headed.
Offensively, the story has sort of been efficiency. Your running backs have been gaining over 5 yards a carry. I believe it's 5 of your rushers have at least 5 yards per carry or more. Jackson Carver, 8 for 11 passing in his first 2 weeks. How effective has this offense truly been? And really, what's been the secret to it being that effective for you these first 2 games?
I think I don't know if it's a secret, but our strategy's always been balance, whether it's with the ball carriers or through the air. I bet you if you broke down of those 8 targets, our leading receiver might have 2 catches. And we've popped some nice play action passes here or there for big gains, but we spread it out in the run game. We try to spread it out in the pass game and take whatever the defense gives us.
A couple of your top receivers, Willie Edwards, a 67-yard touchdown. That's the longest catch of the year. The next closest is over 30 yards. So a stellar performance with those long balls, but also the running game being able to set that up too, being so effective. It all comes back to the front 5, which is, on paper, you would think a weak point for the Lakers coming into this season with 4 offensive linemen switching out of the starting lineup from graduation a year ago, but they've been fantastic in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, we were actually pretty excited about the group. I guess a little nervous just because we're a little young up there, other than Travis, who's played for 3 years and started for 3 years. But yeah, we were a little young, but we knew the potential, and we knew if we could get them to a point where they could maximize their skill set, we might be okay. And I guess for us this year, things might look a little bit differently schematically than what we've done in the past few years, but it's really done in an attempt to highlight the skills of the linemen and the backs, and so far it's worked okay.
74-0 outscoring opponents in the first 2 weeks of this season. This segment brought to you by the math department at West Bloomfield High School. That's all great. We've gone over a lot of the positives so far. Discipline has been another story. A lot of penalties, especially last week. You can chalk that up to an emotional game, but what are you preaching to your team as they head into the Red Division schedule about cleaning up in all 3 phases?
Well, it was 2 penalties in particular I thought were pretty bad. We had them in 4th and longs, dead ball fouls that made a 4th and I think it was a 4th and 19, a 4th and 4, and a 4th and 14, a first down. And, if you do those in a closer game, you're going to lose, like point blank. So if you just talk about penalties and cleaning things up, I'd start there. And after that, like I mentioned, the special teams, we did have a few mistakes still, but I would say vast improvement week 1 to week 2. So we aim to do that again.
overall, there's really not been one player, even one or two players, that stands out as the overall star in any three phases. You're really spreading the wealth amongst your players in terms of who's getting the targets and who's making the plays as well. How exciting is that for you and for your coaching staff to know that you have this many people that can take on huge roles, one game to another, one series to another, and on top of that, execute?
I mean, it's nice. What I like about it is that you get a chance to reward a lot of different kids that have kind of earned it and deserve it. You know, it's hard to spread the wealth in this game, especially the way the game fell last week. We didn't have a ton of offensive plays because of the field position and some of the turnovers we forced. But, you know, we got a lot of different guys the ball and got a lot of different guys into the end zone. So that's pretty cool to see, too.
Lakers 2 consecutive 37-0 victories at home. They got a third consecutive home game coming up on Friday. Rochester Adams coming to town as we open up OAA-red division play. That game, not with us, state champs taking over the broadcast this week. We'll have a link to that. It's also on Local 4 Plus through WDIV. Coach, anything else that you'd like to say about these first two games, particularly last week against Southfield A&T, before we put a bow on that and focus on week number 3?
No, you pretty much summed it up. I mean, we like where we're at and how we started, but, you know, at this point it's in the past, and in this game, if you stay in the past, you kind of get left behind. So we're looking forward, and this week it's Rochester Adams.
Big game coming up on Friday. Before we get to that, we'll talk to one of the breakout stars of the Lakers in 2025. Joel Davis joins me after this break. Stay with us. It's This Week in Laker Football on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. They lose another snap. Deep in the end zone. Could it be another safety?
Oh my God!
West Bloomfield rips it free. Southfield A&T comes up with it. It's a safety again. Benson and company put more points on the board.
Mom, did you really need to buy 2 can openers for our emergency kit?
I can't help it. They're 2 for 1. What's this?
We need to keep our family communication plan safe in case of an emergency.
Thanks, Tita.
We should think ahead to keep Mom and Dad safe when it floods this year. I've got an evacuation route loaded in my phone.
I've got an updated list of Dad's meds.
And I've got just what we need to get them to take this seriously.
Start a conversation with your family and plan together for emergencies.
This is Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
Welcome back to This Week in Laker Football, your exclusive weekly look into the West Bloomfield Lakers varsity football team. I'm Tyler Kieft, joined by West Bloomfield Lakers running back and linebacker Joel Davis, one of the breakout stars for the team in the first 2 weeks of this season. You have roles on offense and defense. They've been pretty big roles so far. How are you adjusting as the season begins?
Just taking one moment at a time, and know that my teammates and coaches trust in me.
So your role on offense has kind of been the power rusher, but you've also shown your ability to get outside the tackles and have some speed. Over 50 yards rushing in the first week of the season. You got a touchdown there. Last week, receiving core, you also got a touchdown involved. That was week 1. Week 2 was the rushing touchdown. So for you, how comfortable are you getting in this pretty young offense for 2025?
Just knowing that I just trust my offensive line, know that they'll open a gap for me, and I know I can break a tackle or two, so it just comes natural.
You play on both sides of the ball. As a linebacker, you've made some pretty key plays as well. You've been in on some of the defensive turnovers and special teams turnovers as well in these first 2 weeks. How does the defensive play for you help aid you in your performance on the offensive side of the football?
Well, it helps me bring my physicality over to the offensive side of the ball, and I'm just a very physical player on both sides of the ball.
So, Joel, you've been able to observe over the past couple of years with West Bloomfield's offensive weapons, most of them being sort of speedy guys that get outside the tackles. For you, you're able to kind of mesh a little bit of everything on the offensive side of the football, and then you're also playing on the defensive side. So how does one affect the other and allow you to be a more effective overall player?
Well, I just take it as really just taking it as all as one. If I'm on defense, I'm just going to focus on that at that time and moment. I'm on offense, I'm going to focus on that. And I know that I'm not a starter on defense because I'm a starter on offense, but it just really comes in natural. So just getting play time on both sides of the ball is just good for both me and the team, physicality.
We've had a couple of exciting 2 weeks to start the season off. Week 1, an emphatic victory to start the year off with Fordson last year, big rivalry week win against Southfield A&T. Now you're getting into the thick of the season. The OAA-red is ahead. How are you and the other guys in the locker room getting ready for this part of the season where the rubber really meets the road for the Lakers?
We know it's going to be tough. We know it's going to be a couple good teams going to have to play as we get closer to the playoffs. We call it the gauntlet that we're going to go through. And we're just preparing, motivating each other, and being ready for OAA-red.
How do you keep each other level-headed in this scenario? Because like you said, it's a gauntlet. Everyone's going to have to play at a high level, and there's a lot of pressure that comes along with that, especially in this division.
Well, we all keep each other accountable for things by example, being on time to practice and things such as that.
Joel Davis with us, a running back and linebacker for the West Bloomfield Lakers, coming off 2 consecutive 37-0 victories at home at the Swamp. Rochester Adams coming to town on Friday. That game will be broadcast by State Champs on State Champs Network's YouTube page, as well as on Local 4 Plus. We'll give you links to that on civiccentertv.com/Lakersports. Joel, as your team pursues an OAA-red regular season title, certainly playoff play, and ultimately a state championship, these first 2 weeks are really the big foundation. What steps forward are you looking for the other 10 players on the field alongside of you and yourself to make as we head into the red division schedule?
Well, we want to keep the other opposing team by 0 points, and we want to up the score. We want to put 50 on people. We want to put 50 on people.
So to bring back the old championship era days, tough defenses, lots of shutouts, and put up a lot of points. Joel Davis, a breakout player for the Lakers in 2025. Thank you for joining us on This Week in Laker Football.
Thank you.
We'll take a break. On the other side, Coach Hilbers will be back here with me. We'll preview Rochester Adams coming to town. Stay tuned. It's This Week in Laker Football on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. At the 40, Carver under center. Handoff up the middle. It's going to be Davis. He's going to break free. Here comes the big fella. Davis on the run. One man to beat. Gets inside the 5, and he's almost there. Does he have it? They're going to mark him short. He stepped on the sideline at the 3. It was that close. A balance move for Joel Davis as he gets near pay dirt. Take another look at this puppy. What a block, Obi Duru.
And again, we talked about this, how these Lakers players love to just fly up and make blocks for their teammates. They don't even need to have the ball in their hands to make plays. Duru just flying upfield to make that block and make that run go even further.
Watch West Bloomfield Lakers football all season long on 89.3 Lakes FM and Civic Center TV. Join Tyler Keefe and Matt Catoni each week for live, in-depth, and exclusive coverage before, during, and after the big game. It's your local high school football team on the road and in your backyard on your home for West Bloomfield Laker football, Civic Center TV, and 89.3 Lakes FM.
Carefully managed and sustainable forests are essential for a healthy environment because trees help clean the air and actually help keep Michigan lakes and streams clean too. And not just for the people who enjoy the outdoors, but for the wildlife that depends on it. In fact, every branch of forestry ensures that future generations will always have a tree for life and forests for a lifetime. To learn how sustainable forestry benefits your life, visit michigan.gov/forests for a lifetime.
This is Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
Welcome back to This Week in Laker Football, your exclusive look into West Bloomfield Lakers varsity football week in and week out during the 2025 season. I'm Tyler Keefe alongside head coach Zach Hilbers. Lakers 2-0 after 2 consecutive shutouts, 37-0 at home. But now we get into the tough part of the schedule. Rochester Adams coming to town on Friday night for the OAA-red division opener. Also a 2-0 team, also a couple of blowouts in their own right. What jumped off the page to you watching the first 96 minutes of Adams football this season?
Well, they're really good. They're really well coached. They have been for years. Their quarterback and middle linebacker, outside linebacker, he plays all over. He's one of the better players in the league, better players in the state of Michigan, in my opinion. and he's been a thorn in our side for years. So a lot of our game plan kind of revolves around him and stopping him because he's pretty good and he has the ball in his hands a lot.
Yeah, the kid you're mentioning, Rhino Waters, their quarterback, coming off an injury in week 5 last year, broke his foot. And somehow the team looked even stronger after he was out last season. Maybe that emotional toll played a role in them ultimately running to the state semifinal, running into Hudsonville. They're coming back with a lot of those same weapons in 2025. You on the other side, being a much younger team. We talked earlier about discipline, about the execution of this team in the first 2 weeks. How does all that factor in? As you're going up against a veteran team with some emotional baggage on their shoulder they're looking to answer for in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. He got hurt last year, and they still, with their backup, the Ferris kid, he led them to the semifinals. He's still an integral part of their offense, kind of playing all over. Reminds me a lot of what we do with our guys, with like Jamal and Will Espy. He's a similar type of player, so he's equally effective. And they got pieces all around him. They're unique style on offense, unique style on defense, and they're really, really good at what they do. So it's a challenge for sure.
They're coming off of a couple of impressive wins themselves. They put up 39 points on Romeo in week number 1. Last week they hold Rochester, a quality team out of the OAA-red, a vastly improved team in 2025, to just 3 points. You look at your team, these 2 shutouts, you look at their team, 2 near shutouts in these first 2 weeks. Talking to your offense, how do you adjust to that, putting up so many points the first couple of weeks and knowing that you may have a little more scarcity in week number 3?
Yeah, we talked about it in our team meeting on Sunday night that, to be honest, both of us and Rochester Adams, haven't been really tested in the fourth quarter yet this year. So we both have to be prepared for it. If it falls our way and it doesn't happen, great. But we have to be ready for the resiliency it takes, the perseverance to play 4 quarters of football, because we've been in the fortunate position where we could kind of coast in the fourth quarter the last 2 weeks.
You put up 74 consecutive unanswered points. That's a lot of confidence to build for your defense. That's the good part of the first 2 weeks. The bad part is that confidence can sometimes turn into complacency, especially for young players at the high school level. As you get ready for Rochester Adams, what's the talk in the defensive meeting room as they're preparing for their toughest test yet this season?
Yeah, they're pretty locked in. They don't buy too much into, maybe it's because I don't let them, but they don't buy too much into what we've done the last couple of weeks. And I think a lot of those guys were on the field last year. They remember being tied there in the fourth quarter and them going on a 10.5-minute drive to basically win the game. So that's pretty fresh in our minds, and it's keeping us focused right now.
How much does last year's performance on the road in Adams factor into this for the older players, getting the younger players into the sense of what this game is going to look like? Because, as you said, for most of that game, it was a bit of a back and forth, a tit for tat between your 2 teams, but really there was that last 10 minutes or so where the tide had turned and Adams played perfect football. So how much are the younger guys getting a little bit of a lesson from the elder players about preparing for just how much of a challenge these next several weeks are going to be in the red?
Well, certainly probably a great game to watch as a fan. Wasn't my favorite, but the way it ended. But, it's funny, you can't be a bad defense and have someone go on a 10.5-minute drive, because you would give up a big play at some point and they would score quicker. So, obviously we would have rather stopped them, but they converted 3 or 4 fourth downs on that drive. And they're what I told our kids last year is, they stepped up and made winning plays when they had to, and we didn't. So it's been on our minds for a long time, and we hope that, we're going to be 1 or 2 plays better this year. But with the way high school football works, they're a different team, we're a different team. Some of the faces might be the same, but it's different kids every year.
And right now, looking at the standings in the red, looking at the results of the first 2 weeks, 3 stand at the top. It's yourself, it's Oxford, the defending champions in this division, and Rochester Adams. Oxford's going up against 1-1 Clarkston. Lake Orion's 0-2, had some injury problems as they head into week number 3. This is a chance for either yourself or the Highlanders to take the driver's seat in the OAA-red. How important is that momentum as you head into the thick of the schedule?
I guess since it's the first OAA-red game, it's pretty important, because 1-0 is a whole lot better than 0-1, because there's only 4 league games. So it's always, all the games are tough and they're all important. There's a reason, last year Oxford beat us, but had we won, it would have been a 4-way tie at 2-2, and it's, in a way, it would have been pretty metaphoric, I guess. But so we expect them all to be a battle anyway, so it's pretty important because it's the next one.
Lakers taking on Rochester Adams right here at West Bloomfield High School. 7 o'clock kickoff on Friday. That game will be broadcast on State Champs Network and Local 4 Plus as well. We'll have links for that on our Lakers Sports page on civiccentertv.com/Lakers Sports. Coach, as we head into Friday, any last thoughts, lasting images for people to think about as they go into watching the Lakers take on the Highlanders Friday night at the Swamp?
I don't know. If you just look over the course of the years, every time we play these guys, it's a pretty good game. So we expect a lot of entertainment, and we just hope to be 1, 2, 3 scores better, whatever it is. Like, I just want one more point than they have at the end of the day. So I just expect a really, really good football game.
Classic in Week 3 last season, a couple of classics, one during the regular season, and a big game in the playoffs for the Lakers against the Highlanders 2 years ago. That saga continues on Friday. Coach, thank you as always.
You got it. Thanks.
Thank you for tuning in to This Week in Laker Football. The Lakers take on Rochester Adams Friday at 7 o'clock. Details about that on civiccentertv.com/Lakers Sports. For our entire team at Civic Center TV and the West Bloomfield High School Athletics Department, I'm Tyler Keefe alongside head coach Zach Hilbers. Thank you for watching This Week in Laker Football.